Hello and welcome everyone. Today the poem which we are going to read is actually a very finer piece of writing, and the name of the poem, as you can see, it is The Railway Junction. That was written by Walter de la Mare, who is actually a very famous poet, and he is a bright star of English literature. Now, before going to read about the poem and before going to analyze the poem, let us get a bit of the background of the poet so that we can understand the poem very easily. Walter de la Mare was actually a poet who spent most of his life writing poems and stories, mostly for children. His first book of poems was called Songs of Childhood, that was written in the year 1902. The main themes he wrote about were romances and nature, and his style was simple. The mysteries of magic, the moonlight, and the quietness fascinated him greatly, actually. These subjects are introduced in most of his poems. In many of his poems, there is a mystery which readers must solve as best they can. In one of his best poems, known The Listeners, the reader is left with many questions. In the poem The Railway Junction as well, we are also left asking many questions. What is the appointed hour? Who is the ball-legged groom? Why is the fair one discreetly veiled? You will have your own ideas when you have read the poem through a number of times. Now, without making any further delay, let's get into the poem. Dear viewers, the Railway Junction by Walter de la Mare signifies the journey of life that the poet contemplates. At the crossroad through the tunnel gloom, the trek forked into two, which could be either dark future, darkening hills, or hope for the future distant seas. He chooses one and realizes how different it is from the one he was leading on. The stillness and peace that he experiences there, he knows is for a short while. For after some time, more people would join the journey there and he would also begun. He thinks whether the other people like him in the journey of life would reach their destination, whether they will get to nocturnal hills or shores. Though he has traveled the train of life with other co-travelers, he never knew others' purpose of traveling. Now he realizes the speeding time, evening growing late, and wonders if the decisions he has made in life are right or wrong. Let us read the first stanza. That is, from here, through tunnel gloom, the track forks into two, and one of these wheels onward into darkening hills, and one toward distant seas. Now the poet starts the poem where he is at a crossroad of life. He sees the alternate future in front of him, which he can take him to two very distant destinations, one to the darkening hills, another one to the darkening hills, and the other one towards the distant seas. One can take him to a harsher future. One can take him to a harsher future, and the other one could take him to a better, hopeful future, and all that. Darkening hills refer to the dark future, and distant seas refers to the hopeful future. Coming to the second stanza, the poet is saying that how still it is, the signal light at sunset of sun at set of sun shines palely green. A thrush sings, other sound there is none, nor traveller to be seen. Now the poet is saying that the scene around the junction, including the total area of the junction, is totally quiet. The speaker describes the scene around the junction, including the only sound, that is a thrush sing. A thrush sings. Oddly, there are no travelers at this time either. Moving on to the third stanza, here the poet is saying, while late there was a throng, and now in a place while I sit alone, though soon at the appointed hour I shall myself begun. Now the stanza says that there had been a throng. There had been a throng, meaning there were recently lots of people at the junction. However, now that the trains have departed, the station agent sits alone and is in a peace a while. He ominously says he will be gone soon himself, but not the same direction as other people. In the next stanza, the poet is saying, but not their way. The ball-legged groom the person in black, the widow and son, the sailor with his cage, the gaunt grandkeeper with his gun. Now the poet is saying that he will not be going the same way other people have gone. The groom, the person, widow, sailor, and gamekeeper. So these two strangers, third and fourth, are connected with each other. Dear viewers, the fifth stanza starts this way: that fair one too, discreetly veiled, all who so mutely came and went, will reach those four nocturnal hills or shores ere night is spent. Now, here the speaker reflects and says that the people, those who have come to the station and left on the train, will be arriving at their destinations and sleeping there in the hills or by the seas, depending on which train they took. Nocturnal hill is actually nocturnal means those animals those who actually roam in the night, and nocturnal hills is reflecting or referring to that particular place where these sort of animals are found. So coming to the next danger, that is, I nothing know why these we met, their thoughts, their longings, hopes, and their fate. And what shall I remember except the evening growing late? Now, longing means desire. Okay, the speaker reflects on how little he knows about these people with whom he has crossed paths, means with whom he has spent most part of his life. All he knows or will remember is the way the night passes and how it's growing late. Longing, as I said, means desire, and fate means fortune. Coming to the last stanza, the speaker says that here through tunnel gloom, the track walks into two. Of these, one into darkening hills leads on, and one toward distant seas. The speaker repeats over here the first stanza about how he how the two trains had different directions, but now ends with a question, raising doubt as to where the trains are going, or maybe what the people who are on the trains are thinking or doing as they travel to those spots. So with this, the whole poem ends over here. I hope I am clear with the explanation and you have understood something and all that. Still, if you have any query regarding to the poem, you can write it in the comment section, and we shall meet in another video. Till then, goodbye. Stay home, stay safe, keep smiling.